Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome to another edition of Warhammer Wednesdays, where we upload Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team battle reports every Wednesday with our series Pandora Fronteris, our Kill Team campaign that is also a map-based campaign. And this is battle report number 3 on this one, and this battle report is fought between my 3 friends, Sergeant Sigmarine, Odeth, as well as King Khalifa. It's a 3-way fight. Sergeant Sigmarine is bringing the Indomitus Crusade of the Adeptus Astartes, while my other 2 friends, Odeth and King Khalifa, are playing the neutral forces in this battle report. Odeth is playing the Heralds of Madness of 1,000 Suns, and King Khalifa is playing the Bad Company of the Astra Militarum, and they'll be playing in a terror tactics scenario. So with that being said, we can play some background music real quick, show you photos of all the kill teams going to be participating in this battle report, as well as their stats. If you want to see exactly what they're bringing for this one, go ahead and pause and take a look at the leisure. So with that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
You want to live forever?
Alright, so the scenario for this one is Terror Tactics. Deployment is standard deployment rules as always. The battle length is 4 turns, and after 4 turns, if you want to keep on going, it keeps on going on a 3-up on a d6. Victory conditions. What's going to happen is that the players are going to try to move across the battlefield to the other side into their enemy's deployment area. For each fighter that does so earns 2 victory points who've broken through the lines, and 1 victory point for every enemy fighter that is taken out of action. Whoever has the most victory points by the end of the scenario is the winner. For the rewards on this one, the rewards for this one is for my friend Sergeant Sigmarine. He's trying to capture a monument as well as a barrack. If he manages to capture the monument, he gets +1 to his territory, +1 material, as well as +1 morale. And if he manages to capture the barrack, he gets +1 territory, as well as +2 material. So with the scenario rules over, let's go and talk about the battle plan as well as deployment. Alright, so here's the overhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield. As you can see, my friends are playing on a 2 kill team table-sized table, and that's because this was a 3-way battle. On the left-hand side is my friend Odeth with his Heralds of Madness, his 1,000 Suns kill team. On the bottom is where my friend Sergeant Sigmarine is deployed at with his Astra Militarum, his Adeptus Astartes kill team. And on the right-hand side is where King Khalifa is located at with his Astra Militarum kill team. Now, the only one who has any objective in this one really is my friend Sergeant Sigmarine. His objective is to make it across the entire length of the battlefield to the other side, so that way he can break through, and if he does and manages to win, he'll capture both a barrack as well as a monument as well for his territories in this one. The other 2 forces, they're just there to be a hindrance because they're neutral forces on this one. So with the battle plan over, let's go and talk about deployment real quick. Alright, so first of all, starting off with the Heralds of Madness, the 1,000 Suns kill team. Over here on the left-hand side, we have Kalazar on fire. He's the guy on the left-hand side. He's a Rurik Marine. He's armed with a Warp Flamer. He's also got an Icon of Flame. He's also the kill team's demolitions expert. He's got the Breacher skill as well as the Pyromaniac special rule attached to him. And then right next to him, of course, is Ron, which is another Rurik Marine. He's armed with an Infernal Bolt Gun and Icon of Flame, and he's also a member of a fire team. And on the bottom of his deployment area, he's got the rest of his kill team. In the back, that is Skeksis of Dark Crystal, who is a Zangor Shaman. He's the commander of this kill team. He's got a Force Stave as well as riding a Discus Niche. He's got the Psychic ability. He's also got a Psyker Specialist with the Student of the Arcane ability, as well as the Sorcerer's Elixir. And he's also got the Madness of Niche Demeanor. And then also leaving a little 3-man team there of 3 Zangor. We have Anku, which is the guy on the top. He has a Twist Bray. He's armed with Zangor Blades, also a fire team member. And then we have Petra as well as Haket down below. Those are both Zangors armed with auto pistols as well as chain swords, and they're also members of a fire team. Alright, so from there we go directly to the Indomitus Crusade on the bottom, and over here we got our little 4-man fire team from this kill team. In the back, that man, his name is Kato Apion. He is a librarian in Phobos armor. He's armed with a bolt pistol, force sword. He's got a camo cloak, frag, and crack grenades. He's got the psychic ability. He's also a psyker specialist with a Student of the Arcane skill. He's also an ultramarine faction, and he's also got the noble demeanor. Now, up in the front, of course, we have Ulrich Stormcloak. He is a Reaver Sergeant. He's armed with a heavy bolt pistol and a combat knife. He's got frag, crack, shot grenades, as well as a grapnel launcher launcher and a grab shoot. He's also the kill team's combat expert. He's also got expert fighter skill. He's also a Space Wolf faction, and he's got the ferocious demeanor attached to him as well. In the back there, on the back right-hand side, that guy's name is Zakael the Somber. He is a Dark Angel's company veteran armed with a plasma cannon. He's armed with bolt pistol, frag grenade, and crack grenades. He's also the kill team sniper with a marksman ability. He's also got a Dark Angel faction. He's also got the somber demeanor. And in the back left-hand side, that character's name is Marcus Cassis. He's an intercessor gunner. He's also armed with a Stalker bolt rifle with an auxiliary grenade launcher. He's also got an Auspex. He's also got frag and crack grenades. He's the comm specialist for this kill team. He's got the scanner ability. He's also an Ultramarine faction soldier, and he's also got the charismatic demeanor. And finally, on the right-hand side of his deployment area, starting in the back there, we have another member of the group. His name is Marius Tarentis. He's an intercessor sergeant. He's armed with a bolt rifle, bolt pistols, chain sword. He's got frag and crack grenades. He's also the leader in this kill team. He's got the resourceful skill. He's an Ultramarine faction. He's also Castilian in terms of his demeanor. Up in the front right-hand side, that is Zoriel Kalon. Zoriel Kalon is a tactical marine gunner. He's armed with a plasma gun, bolt pistol, frag, and crack grenades. He's also a member of Fire Team. He's also got the Dark Angels faction special rule. On the left-hand side, that is Torvald Greymane. He is a Reaver. He's armed with a heavy bolt pistol, combat knife, frag, crack, and shot grenades. He's got a grapnel launcher as well as a grab shoot. He's also a member of the Fire Team as well, and he's also a Space Wolf, where his faction rules. And last, on the right-hand side, we have Bad Company, which is an Astra Militarum kill team with the Necromunda Ganger special rule. For this faction, all we did for the Necromunda Gangers regimental doctrine, all we did was just use the Catachan Jungle Fighter's ability, which gives them +1 strength and +1 leadership if they're within 6 inches of an officer. So over there in the front, that character's name is Stubber. He's a Tempestus Scion gunner. He's armed with a hotshot volley gun. He's got frag and crack grenades. He's also a member of Fire Team. And right behind him is Mad Donna, another Tempestus Scion gunner. She's armed with a hotshot volley gun, frag and crack grenades, and she's also a Fire Team member as well. And finally, at the top of the deployment area, we got another 3-man fire team. In the back, that is Inquisitor Gregor Eisenhorn. He is a commander special character. He's armed with the Artificer bolt pistol. He's got the Barbasator as well as a Ruin Staff. He's also a Psyker with the Strategist ability. He's also got the resourceful skill, and he's got the dutiful demeanor as well. Up in the front is Bussa 2. He is a special weapons gunner. He's armed with a melted gun, frag grenades, as well as a member of the kill team. And down below we have Mad Teddy, who's another Tempestus Scion gunner, who's armed with a plasma gun. He's also got frag and crack grenades, and he's also a member of the Fire Team as well. And that pretty much makes the deployment for this one. So the deployment over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and my friends roll off for initiative to see which of them will be going first. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1, and the Thousand Suns managed to get the initiative on this one, so they actually managed to go first on this one. And this photo is taken after the movement phase for the most part. So as you can see in this photo, the Thousand Suns, of course, do not hesitate whatsoever, moving as quickly as they can to the right-hand side of the battlefield, trying to close in the center in order to engage with the Indomitus Crusade as well. The Zangor Shaman flies to the roof of the shanty bottom left-hand corner, while the 3 Zangor are trying to make their way directly towards a combat specialist, Ulfric Stormcloak, who's down below as well. Ron as well as Anku, both those guys advance forward as well. Ron makes it about 7 inches behind the little foxhole there in the center left. At the same time, Calazarn Fire, he actually advances 12 inches and moves up forward. And since he's armed with a Warp Flamer, though, he doesn't have to worry because that weapon can shoot even if he advances, because it's an assault weapon and the shots automatically hit. From there we go to the Indomitus Crusade real quick. As you can see in this photo, my friend Sergeant Sumi decided to divide up his forces. He sent his left-hand fire team into the center, having his guys move up as quick as they can towards the water tower, and he had his other 3-man fire team move over to the right-hand side using the Hesco barriers in the bottom right-hand corner as cover, and setting up Torvald Greymane up forward into the well up in the top there, up to the waterworks, so that way he can start putting some pressure on the Astra Militarum. Meanwhile, for my friend King Khalifa, the only real movement that took place was Gregor Eisenhorn. He actually does an advance movement forward to climb up to the roof of the shanty up there, and the rest of his fighters, he puts ready markers on there so that way they can shoot first during the shooting phase. So here's a close-up of Ron as well as Calazarn Fire, moving up as quick as they can in order to engage the Indomitus Crusade. And here's a close-up of St. Henry the Illuminator, as well as his 3 Zangor with Petra, Heket, as well as with Anku, moving as quick as they can and try to assault Ulfric Stormcloak, who's taking cover behind that little shanty there. And that's the combat specialist for the Indomitus Crusade. And here's a close-up of the rest of the fire team moving up forward using that water tower of cover. We got Kato Apion taking point up in the front there. We also got Marius in the back there. And we also got, I believe that guy's name is Zakael, I think is his character's name. That's the guy who's armed with the plasma cannon. He's also stuck by, Zoriel, that's his name. Zakael, that's his name. As well as Marcus Cassis. They're moving up in the door to take cover behind that little water tower area there. And here's a close-up of the Indomitus Crusade on the right-hand side. You can see that Torvald Greymane advance forward towards the well. At the same time, Zoriel as well as as well as Marius Tarentis. They're using those Hesco barriers as cover as well, so that way they can engage the Astra Militarum. Here's a close of Mad Donna as well as Stubber, who are standing their ground with ready markers, so that way they can shoot first on the shooting phase. And here's a close-up of Mad Teddy as well as Bussanine number 2, as well as Gregor Eisenhorn. Gregor Eisenhorn is overlooking the top there, so that way he can use his abilities in the psychic phase, while he's got ready markers on his 2 gangers down below, armor with their weapons, so that they can shoot first in the shooting phase. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the psychic phase. And during the psychic phase, you can see in this photo, what ended up happening is that, Security the Illuminator did try to cast a Psybolt originally for his very first turn, but unfortunately for him though, Kato Apion was in range and used his psychic ability to deny the witch, was able to dispel that psychic ability off. However, Kato Apion though is able to use Psybolt, managed to put a flesh wound directly on Calazar on fire, and then because he's also got a second ability, he decides to get off, Iron Arm, which basically until the next psychic phase, he's got +2 to his strength as well as +2 to his toughness for the Psyker who cast it, so pretty powerful ability there. Meanwhile, on the other side of the battlefield, as you can see on this photo here, Gregor Eisenhorn decides to use his psychic ability as well. In this case, he used Enforce Will, which allows him to pick an enemy model within 12 inches you can immediately shoot, as he was a member of the kill team, and he does manage to possess Torvald Greymane. Luckily for my friend Sergeant Sigmarine, though, Torvald Greymane missed his shot, so not much really happened from there. So with the psychic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. And in the shooting phase, the Astra Militarum of the Bad Company brought the pain. As you can see in this photo, 2 members of the Indomitus Crusade automatically go out of action. Torvald Greymane, I believe he got hit with the melted gun is what got him in trouble, so because of that, he automatically goes out of action, so he goes out. At the same time, I believe it was Stubber with his volley gun. I believe, sorry, no, it wasn't Stubber. I do apologize. It was Mad Teddy with his plasma gun. The plasma gun was the guy who was able to take out Zoriel Kalon as well, puts him out of action directly. Managed to put a flesh, I believe one of the flesh wounds is from the original shot from the plasma gun. I believe the other one, because it was rapid fire ability, the second shot's the one that finished him off for the most part. So, not to take it lying down, Marius Tarentis, there we go, he's the Intercessor Sergeant. He opens up fire with his bolt rifle directly into Stubber, also managed to put that guy out of action as well, which is all kinds of insane. Meanwhile, in the center of the battlefield, the members of the Thousand Suns, Calazar on fire, he opens up with his Warp Flamer directly into Zakael the Somber, who is the sniper for the kill team. Managed to put that guy out of action as well. Hit him with 6 different hits from that Warp Flamer, so unfortunately just slipped through his armor save. I think 4 of those hits managed to win in the end, and so because of that, it's just the law of large numbers, he basically goes out of action as well. And the rest of the shooting phase is pretty much a wash for everybody else, and since there's no need to take the morale phase, we skip the morale phase and go directly to the end of turn number 1. So with that, takes us directly to the end of turn number 1, and here's an overhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield. As you can see, things are not looking very good right now for the Indomitus Crusade. They lost 3 members of their fire team. Luckily for my friend Sergeant Sigmarine, though, he did pass his nerf test, so because none of the members of his kill team are shaking yet, which is actually kind of good, but at the same time, though, the pressure is bearing down on him at the same time, so that part is not so great. The Thousand Suns are swarming in from the left-hand side, while the Bad Company, the Astra Militarum, are just picking them off from the right-hand side as well. So at the end of the turn, we go directly to the top of turn number 2. My friends roll off our priority to see which of them will be going first. So that takes directly to the top of turn number 2, and the Astra Militarum, my friend King Khalifa managed to get the initiative on this one, so he got to go first, and this photo, as you can see here, is taken after the movement phase. So starting off with the members of Bad Company, Mad Donna basically stays put and gets another ready marker put on her, so that way she can shoot first in the shooting phase. At the same time, Mad Teddy as well as Bussanine number 2, they go right behind that hedgehog there on the right-hand side, so that way they can get within closer range to open fire directly into Marius Tarentis, which is the guy who's the Intercessor Sergeant, who's right there behind the little Hesco barrier. At the same time, Gregor Eisenhorn also advances forward 12 inches in total, running across the gangplank connected to 2 shanties to the shanty in the bottom right-hand corner. I think he's doing that so that way he can get within range, use his psychic ability onto the Intercessor Sergeant as well. So from there we go directly to the Thousand Suns. They're the guys who are able to move first. So the first thing that ends up happening is that all three Zangor, Anko the Twist Spray, Petra as well as Haket, those 3 guys go directly into Ulfric Stormcloak and surround that guy in close combat as well. At the same time that's happening, at the same time, Calazar on fire, he kind of scoots over a little bit to the left-hand side next to the foxhole, so that we can get off his shot with the flamer. At the same time, Ron also advances forward as well, so that way you can catch up. And then finally, at the same time, Skeksis Dark Crystal, he also advanced forward as well, flying from the roof of the shanty to the top of the water tower as well, so that way he's got good overwatching fire to lay down some suppressive abilities with his psychic abilities. Now from there we go directly to the Indomitus Crusades. They're the last guys that go on this one. So the first thing that ended up happening is that my friend Sergeant Sigmund decided to put a ready marker directly onto Marius Tarentis, his intercessor sergeant who's hiding behind those Hesco bears on the right hand side, so that way he can shoot first hopefully and take out some of those gangers coming after him from the Necromunda Penal Corps. At the same time, Cato Apion, he charges directly into Ron, engages him in close combat. At the same time, he also sends in his intercessor gunner Marcus Cassis. That guy also charges directly into Calazar Fire as well. And then finally, Ulrich Stormcloak, he's currently engaged in close combat with those 3 Zangors, and that pretty much makes up his move phase for this one. Alright, so here's a close-up of Busta 9 number 2, as well as Mad Teddy moving up forward, just a normal moon allowance behind that hedgehog, so that way they can use it as cover, at the same time get close enough to assault against Marius Tarentis. And here's a close-up of Gregor Eisenhorn moving across the shanties, so that way you can get a good look at Marentis, so that we can use his psychic abilities, and you can see Mad Donna just kind of standing her ground with the ready marker, so that way she can shoot first. And here's a close-up of Marius Tarentis taking cover behind his little Hesco bears with a ready marker, so that way he can shoot first as well. And here's a close-up of Sekinre of the Illuminator flying up to the top of the water tower and taking cover, so that way he can rain down psychic abilities down below. And here's a close-up of the melee that's about to break out during the combat phase. As you can see in this photo as well, we got two members of the Indomitus Crusade. Ulrich Stormcloak being surrounded by all 3 sides by Petra, Anku, as well as Heket. At the same time, you can see Marcus Cassis engaged currently right now with Calazar on fire as well. And I forgot to mention this. I do apologize for the last turn. He did manage to get a second flesh wound put on that character. He got a flesh wound before from a psychic ability from Cato Apion earlier. And I forgot to mention he also got hit with a grenade launcher too by Marcus Cassis too in the last shooting phase. I do apologize for that one, you guys. So he does carry 2 flesh wounds on him, and he's currently engaged in close combat with that character. And here's a close-up of Cato Apion engaging in close combat with Ron and him charging directly into him, getting them stuck into the combat phase. Now from there we go directly to the psychic phase. However, nothing really happened in the psychic phase because either 1, people failed their test, or 2, they were actually dispelled by the Night of the Witch test. So because of that, psychic phase, nothing much really happened. So with the psychic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. So with that, we go directly to the shooting phase, and as the shooting took place over here on the far right-hand side, nothing much really happened, unfortunately. The only thing that ended up happening is that Mad Don was able to put a wound directly onto Marius Tarentis. However, his return fire shots failed. At the same time, Mad Teddy as well as Busta 9 number 2 also failed their shots too, so not much really happens here. And since Marius Tarentis is a Primaris, he has another wound left on him still. So with the shooting phase over with, we go directly to the combat phase. And in the combat phase, Cato Apion had no problem whatsoever putting a hurting directly onto Ron. Managed to put that guy out of action as well. If I remember correctly, I think 2 of his hits from his Force Sword caused, I think, like 4 or 5 wounds on that guy. So because that, Ron goes out of action and he turns into a cloud of dust. Meanwhile, combat between Calazar on fire as well as Marcus Cassis didn't really go much anywhere. So those 2 guys are still fighting it out for the most part. However, down below, though, combat between Ulfric Stormcloak versus the 3 Zangor. As you can see in this photo, he went Super Saiyan. The Zangor did manage to put a wound directly onto him, so he only got one more wound left onto Ulrich Stormcloak. However, Ulrich Stormcloak decided to go Super Saiyan with 5 different attacks, and as you can see here in this photo, he takes all 3 of those guys out of action as well, which is absolutely insane. At the same time, also naming himself a bonus experience point as well, because Cato Apion decided to use, my friend Sergeant Sigmund be able to use the ability where he can select his combat specialist to fight immediately next. He fought first with Cato Apion, and then he selected Ulfric Stormcloak to go next using that special ability, so he gets another experience point as that. But as you can see here, he just puts the hurting on those 3 Zangor, and that is why you don't mess with Ulrich Stormcloak. So with the combat phase over, we go directly to the morale phase. You can see in this photo, unfortunately for the Heralds of Madness, they did fail their nerf test because of the kill team is currently broken. And at this point, that my buddy Odette decides to pull his kill team out of it, and that's because he doesn't really lose anything for losing the scenario, because all he's doing is playing the neutral forces. So because of that, the Heralds of Madness decide to slip away into the shadows and to strike back another day. So that takes us to the end of turn number 2. As you can see, the kill team of the Heralds of Madness decided to retreat and not to stick around anymore. So the only players are left on the table are Sergeant Sigmarine as Indomitus Crusade, as well as Bad Company of the Astra Militarum, played by King Khalifa. King Khalifa's forces are moving to the right-hand side, getting ready to take on the one lone Intercessor Sergeant, Marius Tarentis, who's by himself on the right-hand side, while the rest of his kill team on the left-hand side is free to charge across the battlefield to escape if they want to. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 2 and go directly to the top of turn number 3. And my friends roll off for a priority to see which of them will be going first. So that takes directly to the top of turn number 3, and the Astra Militarum gets to go first on this one, and this photo is taken after the move phase. As you can see, not much movement really happened for the most part. The only thing that ended up happening is that Gregor Eisenhorn moves up his normal movement allowance to get closer to Marius Tarentis, and the rest of his fighters have ready markers placed on him, so that way they can shoot at him. When it came to Sergeant Sigmarin's turn, as you can see in this photo, he decides to run, is what he decides to do. He starts rabbiting it. He just starts rolling advances for all of his guys. Cato Appion, as well as I believe that guy's Marcus is his name, I think. Marcus Cassis, there we go. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes there. Marcus Cassis, as well as Cato Appion, they both decide to just book it. They run, I think, 11 inches for Cato Appion. I think it's 12 inches for Marcus Cassis. They move directly towards the top of the table, so that way they can escape. At the same time, Ulfric Stormcloak, I think, advances like 9 or 10 inches forward, moving past the foxhole. At the same time, Marius Tarentis, the Intercessor Sergeant, he's not going to stick around that Hescobear anymore. He runs over like 11 or 12 inches, I forget which one it is, directly to the base of the water tower because he's trying to escape those Astra Militarum guys from shooting him to pieces. And that pretty much makes it the move phase on this one. So here's a close-up of the move phase. As you can see, Mad Teddy, Bussa92, as well as Mad Donna, they all had ready markers on them, so they don't move. Unfortunate for them, though, when Marius Tarentis decided to escape, he leaves their line of sight, so they can't shoot him, so it's kind of a wasted effort for the bad company, the Astra Militarum. And here's a close-up of Gregor Eisenhorn moving out quickly as he can to use his psychic abilities, but once again, Marius Tarentis, because he ran, he is now out of range for any of Gregor Eisenhorn's psychic abilities. And here's a close-up of Marius Tarentis running for the hills, heading directly towards that water tower because he's tired of being shot at. And finally, here's a close-up of Ulrich Stormcloak, as well as Cato Appion, as well as Marcus Cassis moving as quick as they can directly to the top of the table as well. And we skip the psychic phase because no one's in range to use their abilities, and since everybody advanced or had a marker placed on them, we skip the shooting phase. There is no combat, no one needs to take the morale test for this point, so that pretty much brings us to the end of turn number 3. So here's an overhead shot at the end of turn number 3. As you can see, my friend Sergeant Sigmarin is making a beeline directly towards the top of the table, trying to net some victory points as quick as he can so that way he can escape. And at the same time, the Astra Militarum are also giving chase. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 4. My friends roll off for initiative to see which of them will be going first. So that takes directly to the top of turn number 4, and the Adeptus Astartes managed to get the initiative on this one, so Sergeant Sigmarin gets to go first. As you can see in this photo, both Cato Appion as well as Marcus Cassis, those guys make it directly to the end of the table, so they managed to survive and escape with 2 victory points apiece. At the same time, Ulrich Stormcloak also follows up, I think 7 inches, I think is all he ran this time, so he's advancing as well, making his way directly to the top of the screen. And once again, Marius Tarentis, that guy runs like I think 10 or 11 inches, running around the water tower, making his way directly to follow Ulrich Stormcloak. At the same time, on the right-hand side, the Astra Militarum, they start pursuing as well, moving up as quick as they can to the base of the water tower because they want to go after him and try to finish him off before they escape. So here's a close-up. As you can see, we got Marius Tarentis as well as Ulrich Stormcloak moving as quick as they can in order to try to escape because they're both carrying a wound. And here's a close-up of Cato Appion as well as Marcus Cassis, who made it directly to the end of the deployment area, and they net themselves 2 victory points apiece for managing to escape on the terror tactics on this one. And finally, here's a close-up of the Astra Militarum of the bad company moving as quick as they can in order to pursue. And unfortunately, because everybody ran, there is no shooting or psychic ability, so that takes directly to the end of the game. And a 1 was rolled to see if they would continue on to round 5, and that immediately brings us to the end of the game, with the Adeptus Astartes securing a win on this one. Managed to secure the most victory points. I think in the end, they managed to capture, 8 victory points in the end, so they managed to secure. So because of that, the Adeptus Astartes win this scenario, and as well as capture their territories within their little area of operations. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go directly to the post-game because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Alright, now it's time for the post-game. So starting off with the Heralds of Madness, 4 members of this kill team were put out of action. Ron, Anku, as well as Petra. All 3 of those guys make full recovery, as well as, however, Heket, though, goes into convalescence. So because of that, he will not be able to participate in his next battle report. No member of the kill team advanced at this time, and there is nothing for their resources because they're just the neutral forces in this campaign. So from there we go directly to Bad Company. Stubber was the only guy who got out of action on this one, but he makes a full recovery no problem. And once again, nobody in this kill team advances yet, so not much going on there. And once again, we also skip the resources for them because they're just the neutral forces in this campaign. And that leads us to the winners of this scenario, which is the Indomitus Crusade. For the injuries, 2 members of the kill team went out of action. Torvald Greymane makes a full recovery, so no harm, no foul there. However, Zoriel Kalon, though, the tactical marine gunner armed with a plasma gun, he goes into convalescence as well. So because of that, he will not be participating in the next round of scenarios for turn number 2. For advancements, nobody in this kill team advances at this time, so because of that, nobody levels up. However, for rewards, though, they did manage to capture a monument as well as a barracks, so they got those 2 major train pieces in their resources. For the resources, currently the Indomitus Crusade have 0 points in intelligence, they have 3 points in material, 2 in morale, and 3 in territory as well. Now, they also decided to spend some of their points for their territories as well as the material that they managed to gather. They recruited 2 new members to the kill team. They recruited a Dark Angels tactical sergeant named Relion. He's armed with a plasma pistol as well as a chain sword, and they also recruit another Dark Angels tactical marine named Shoriel, who's armed with a bolt gun, bolt pistol. He's also got frag and crack grenades. Their new record now is at 1 win and 0 losses on this one, and their kill team total now is at 228 points for their kill team force. And that pretty much makes up the end of this scenario. So now that we're done with this scenario, we are now officially done with turn number 1 of our campaign. So we're going to show you the map of the campaign and talk about exactly what happened. So here is the end of turn number 1. As you can see, here's the map of Pandora Fronteris. As you can see, all 4 kill teams have now secured 3 hexes of territory for themselves. The Orcs managed, which is my kill team, we managed to capture an Auspex, which is really nice. For the Red faction, they managed to secure themselves a temple. The Death Guard actually managed to capture 2 pieces of minor terrain without any incidents, so they didn't have to fight this turn at all, but their territory expanded, which is great. While the Adeptus Astartes, they managed to expand into 3 territories as well, and capturing a monument as well as a barracks as well. And that pretty much sums up turn number 1 of the campaign. We'll next battle report, we'll talk about exactly what we do for turn number 2 and continue on with our Pandora Fronteris campaign setting with our map-based campaign. So that's good for this one, guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. You guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to our channel. That's good for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.